Good evening, friends. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and we are dealing with a very serious issue tonight. I got a good friend of mine in Israel has sent me an intelligence report there that I wanted to be able to share with you, and it is not looking good. Not looking good for Israel, and of course, with this report, I cannot help but wonder. Why the situation is what it is. Well, let me just get into the report there. As it was shared with me, Ben-Nun, it's time. USA and Israel have had enough with Iran. Well, that's pretty obvious because Israel has been bombing Iran inside of Syria, trying to stop Iran proxies from getting a foothold inside of Syria. Of course, Russia and Iran have been working together to overthrow the U.S.-backed proxy forces there that have been trying to overthrow the President Bashar al-Assad out of Syria, which that's always been an issue for me. But now that I know the issues with that Syria will actually do very well in the upcoming cataclysmic event that I was told about by U.S. intelligence sources there, that we're going to be hit by asteroid belt. We're going to go through major changes in the earth here, but yet Syria will be spared, as well as parts of Israel, mainly eastern Israel, Samaria, or we should say the West Bank and the mountainous regions of Israel will be spared, but the coastlines of Israel will be decimated, from what I've been told by intelligence sources on that out of the Pentagon. Now, when I say this, let me kind of share with you, though, the report here, because it's very important, and I was told this from since oh gosh, going back September last year. I was told that from the same source here that, Steve, when you see a war break out between Israel and Iran, you need, if you're not going back to Europe, you need to take your family and go to the wilderness, because the United States will get involved in this war, and Russia, possibly even China, will retaliate against the United States, and you will see a limited nuclear strike in America as well, to bring about devastation in the nation. But what does it all really mean? It means a new world order is what it means. This is what the the elitists really want. And when I say this, listen, this is not your everyday Israeli that just wants peace and is not interested in all these wars going on in the Middle East. This is a very demonic group that believes that the only way to fulfill biblical prophecy is for a third of the Jews to still die. I mean, that's totally insane. You know, Israel does not need more deaths of Jewish people for them to recognize that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. But some will stop at nothing to make sure that that happens. Anyway, though, and I know that my good friend there, we disagree on a lot of things when it comes to these issues here, but I still have a lot of respect and appreciation with him that he's willing to share these things with me. But let me kind of give you some of the information he says. He said Israel is going back on lockdown because of China virus, as he calls it. Now, he doesn't realize himself that the U.S. was behind the China virus. It wasn't China released the virus, it was the U.S. released the virus. And that was from my own Pentagon source that shared that with me as well. It says, I hear Israel got some spikes in the virus, but it's because of the religious people all close together and all they do. However, much of the virus cases are being embellished and not all accurate. He's right on that. And in reality, what is corona to begin with? It is a cold virus, but I believe that it's being used even in America to lock people down because they know what's coming here as well. In fact, I can't wait for you to see the broadcast that we have, that Yana has done, sharing some tremendous information about what's going on that. But at any rate, he goes on here to say that the lockdown is being done in Israel, but it's not being done because of really and truly because of the coronavirus. Let's look at some more there. Uh, he said there is some truth to it and it's valid in a way, but it's not what is really going on. Israel wants all its people at their homes and in their neighborhoods because of Iran, Hezbollah, and Yemen may attack Israel. That doesn't surprise me though, because like I said, some of these elite in Israel, you got to remember the Frankist doctrine, the Sabbatean doctrine is that the more evil you do, the more likely chance you have of bringing about the Messiah. So they're trying to provoke Iran into attacking Israel in order that they can get that death count up there for them. My Israeli brothers, sisters over there, friends I should say, listen, we don't need to raise some kind of death toll in Israel for the Messiah. Jesus Christ is that Messiah. He's already come. But let's continue. So he says that they're worried about Iran, Hezbollah, and Yemen in an attack. What I was told is that Israel fears all their people being stranded in different cities and regions away from their homes and family. Israel doesn't want people stranded on the roads with no food, water, medication away from the kids, so they are locking everything down as soon as possible. There will be no travel once this starts. Roads and bridges will be down. I know this is inevitable, friends. Chemical, sewage, water, fires will prevent travel. Only military and emergency travel will be allowed. Directly, he was told. Iran generals and leaders have been told to overthrow the religious creeps and take back their government and society, or attack will come and get worse. So, in other words, Israel, this is an admission to these attacks that have been going on inside of Iran already. We've seen several articles coming out in the news. I think Business Insider also has been bringing something like that out. Let's see. Israel keeps blowing up military targets in Iran, hoping to force a confrontation before Trump can be voted out in November, sources say. Imagine that. Do what you got to do to make sure Trump stays in office. It's not just that, though, friends. Listen, like I said, we have some amazing Israeli people, God-fearing. All they want is to see the Messiah. And maybe they don't recognize that Jesus Christ truly is the Messiah, but there's some good Israeli people that live in Israel. They want peace with their neighbors. They don't want all these wars. But then you got some wackos over there, some reptilians in power, that'll do anything to make sure that their AI serpent Messiah comes on board there. And yes, that's exactly what is believed. I thought I had the book here, but I don't. You know, they believe in what they call a holy serpent. They believe that the serpent in the garden was a good guy. What a mess, right? So let's go back. Let's take a look at what my good friend has to say here. So he was told that these things were going to happen, right? And then he goes on to say that if Iran's generals do not do this and they attack anyone, Israel or USA or countries, tankers, that their cities will be bombed heavily and tactical nukes will be used. So the Israeli government has already warned these generals to take the country away from the religious, do an overthrow internally, or face an attack by the United States and Israel. All their underground facilities will be destroyed. Subs capable. USA, XYZ off the coast of Iran right now waiting for orders. This could pop off at any minute. This is not a game or a speculation. He says, I know, and I'm telling you, this friend I got here, you're talking about some of the most accurate intel that I get ever out of the Middle East. It is believed that Iran will attack Israel with chemical and biological and nukes if it escalates. This is why Israel is going on lockdown now without alarming the population. All right, if that's happening in Israel, Israel's locking down the people because they don't want to alarm them. What do you think is happening in America? Absolutely insane. China virus is valid, but it's a convenient excuse to hurt and corral the people for their own safety. And Russia's been told too. they will have all destroyed in Syria if they don't stand down and scale back. You don't think Russia's not going to get involved in it? Sure they are. Israel is backing Egypt to oust Turkey. Turkey will not be allowed into northern Africa. Also, Israel has been kicking some blank, blank, blank in Sinai last few weeks with partnership with Egypt on destroying all the jihadis that are a threat to Egypt. Many are fleeing to boats and the Red Sea, going to Yemen and South Sudan, and whatever, you know what country is in the south, the black country south of capturing them. All right, so we won't go into that part there. This information is accurate, but not sure if I understood all the words exactly. The details but it is 75 to 90% accurate due to the language barrier and being almost deaf. Or we don't have to talk about that either. Anyway, I want to thank my good friend for sending that, CK. I appreciate you tremendously, my friend, for sharing this information. And I will say one thing too. I do remember the warning. And so for my friends that are trying to contact me also in Florida, this was another reason why needing to leave Florida, but I didn't know this part here till tonight. So those friends that I have in Florida, always remember Russia showed in their video Orlando as a target. So maybe we do need to seriously consider getting away from this area. As I was told, we'll have a little window. When the war breaks out between Israel and Iran, we got a little window to still get out of here. But it won't be long. I'm Steve Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Thank you. Thank you for your support of this ministry, your continued love and support. IsraeliNewsLive.org. God bless you. Pray for Israel. Pray for the believers in Israel. Pray for the Jewish people that don't know Jesus Christ as their Savior. Please pray for them. Pray even for the Iranians and the other people as well that don't know Jesus Christ as their Savior, and for the Christians in Syria. This is a devastating time in this world. Good evening, friends.